What is up, everybody? I hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. If anybody has seen Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, or Bill Hinman, please reach out to the SEC. They are missing. I am going to hop right into this today because just saw this. There's also a swift announcement about, proof of concepts within central bank digital currencies that we're going to go over quickly. That came out yesterday. The partners are interesting for me. We'll kind of talk about some of the previous swift presentations wherein they did showcase XRP within kind of court of settler, but then went on to announce that it's not going to be a proof of concept about that whatsoever. But then we have a Swift veteran of 20 years, so shout out to Jack the Rippler on Twitter for that video, and Leah Halpern. So moving forward within this, so the SEC cannot confirm if this video that is wanting to be utilized for evidence within the case of Bill Hinman is actually Bill Hinman. This is the point that we're at within this case, apparently. I mean, it's the most asinine and ridiculous thing that you could ever think of, but you can see the SEC's answer. Subject to all of the foregoing objections and after reasonable inquiry, the information known and currently available is not sufficient to enable the Commission to admit or deny the request for this request for admission. This is a YouTube video right here. It's an authentic recording of Hinman speaking at the November 5th, 2018 FinTech Week conference. You can see the gentleman right here. This is obviously Bill Hinman. It's obviously the same dude. You can go a step further and say, hey, let me look up the actual conference. Georgetown Law, this is Professor Chris Brummer, Institute of International Economic Law, and their second annual FinTech Week. You can see Hinman down here below. Professor Chris Brummer, IEL's faculty director, interviewed a number of regulatory agency leaders, including Bill Hinman. Yeah. All right. I wanted to present this real quick to you guys. Just another interesting chart. I am potentially going to be looking to maybe make some small moves in this space just in case a bottom may have been in. I still think that we might have some sort of a little bit of a rise up in the price and then maybe that capitulation moment. But just in case for me, and this isn't financial advice to any of you, I might start to enter into some things like Quant, maybe even, Hedera, things like that. Given the fact that I really do believe like assets like Quant in the future are going to hit 4 or 5 digits, maybe 1 or 2 cycles or 3 cycles down the road, I don't really see a separation from buying those assets at $60 versus $30 and then just riding it out. And then kind of on top of that too, this is a logarithmic growth curves for Bitcoin. If you're not aware of what this is, essentially this is presenting it within a framework where it's going to be higher floors. You can see the bottom line, the trend line, and the upper trend line would be lower ceilings. And then eventually you kind of get to that lessening of volatility within an asset's price because something just can't go up parabolically forever. That's kind of where the narrative gets shut out eventually too, because as the cryptocurrencies and digital assets gain more of a market share, which they were, I fervently believe that they're probably going to swallow pretty much everything. The volatility will go down within assets that have been around for a while because their valuation is just going to be much higher. They're going to be much more liquid across the board, et cetera, et cetera. But this was an interesting chart to me. You can look at the lower trend line here and you can kind of measure and see, hey, we didn't break below this trend line. This is a monthly chart. Until March of 2020 was the first time we did it. And then this actual crash as well. So May of 2022, we are also doing it right now. And generally, we only have one instance, so you can't necessarily use that as an indicator. You usually want to see like 3 things that have happened to say, hey, odds are the 4th time, if there's similar things that are in the market right now, it's probably going to occur again, or at least it's going to rhyme. But it'll be really interesting to watch what happens right now. We could be close to that bottom as far as price is concerned. Regardless, I'm still looking at that 210 SMA on the weekly, which essentially puts you at like 21, 22K. Worst case scenario, 14K. But just to, make sure that I have a little bit of exposure within this space, within, potential buying opportunities for me personally, looking at things like Quant and Hedera Hashraf right now, we might see a little bit of a rise up in price and maybe capitulation, or maybe we just go into a bull market. Who knows? Everybody should have their own plan, like I said before. I can look at the fear and greed index as well. We're pretty much deep into the red here. I'm colorblind, so excuse me. Lots of great things within this. If you want to use this site, it's a resource. I will say I think this is lagging in price, so it's like always like it might be It might only be updated every week. It might only be updated. I'd have to look, but check it out. There's a ton of really great charts within this. New experiments paving the way for international payments utilizing central bank digital currencies. This is coming through SWIFT and coming out of SWIFT. If you aren't aware, I did a video probably a month and a half ago. SWIFT is actually integrating blockchain cryptocurrency wallets starting in November of this year. SWIFT pretty much running the gamut as far as all of the payments and payments messaging and FX that we see pretty much globally. It's one of the reasons that you hear about BRICS and you hear about Russia removing itself from the dollar. I mean, that's how they would do it. Brazil, Russia, South Africa, India, China, essentially setting up SIPs, and then through the digital yuan and things like that out of China, essentially circumventing the SWIFT network, because SWIFT pretty much deals in all the value that gets transferred across the globe every day. And they're obviously doing proof of concepts for central bank digital currencies here. What's interesting to me is who they're with. These proof of concepts are with Consensus Quorum. I guess JP Morgan's fine too, given ETHgate. But Consensus is Quorum. We know kind of Consensus is tied in with ETHgate, et cetera, but also dealing in R3 and Corda. So you can see right here, technically the proof of concept ensures that regardless of the platform used, and Corda and Quorum are adopted in the experiment and the proof of concept, SWIFT provides efficient orchestration of transactions in collaboration with Capgemini, also addressing 3 different use cases: CBDC to CBDC, fiat to CBDC, and CBDC to fiat. So what I wanted to go over real quick here is, just this is an older presentation, so take it with a grain of salt. It's literally a SWIFT presentation, though. This is from Jensen Mariana, Senior Banking and Payments Market Expert, EMEA area at SWIFT. This is SWIFT GPI Fundamentals. Now, if you're not aware, actually, I have to look into this Cybercastle thing. That was interesting. ISO 20022, obviously, kind of that standard. I think the SWIFT deadline for ISO 20022 is 2025. A lot of people say that, there's like 4 blockchain networks right now, 4 or 5. I think IOTA, Algorand, Ripple, and is it Zinfin? I forget what the fourth one is right now. That are actually ISO 20022 certified. Ripple's sits on the board, I believe, of the ISO 20022. But all of these blockchain platforms are going to have to be compliant within ISO 20022. So it's big, but it's not I don't think guaranteeing these assets to do what everybody thinks they're going to do. But within this presentation, though, what's really interesting to me is they talk about kind of the goals. So they're going to start with a proof of concept in collaboration with R3 in 2019, but they both have a common interest to build a settlement capable system for distributed ledger technology, which is basically what they're saying there. And then the best slide down here is the slide that they chose to use XRP within, but then they go on to say that they're not going to support XRP. It's almost like me opening up a deli and having ham on the menu, and when somebody comes in and orders ham, I'm like, we don't make ham sandwiches here. It's just an example of what we do at the deli, which is like the most ridiculous thing that I've ever heard of. So settlement on Corda, you can see Corda Settler, so there's 3 different mechanisms: transfer of funds on Corda, or you have SWIFT GPI, or you have crypto, e.g. XRP. So right now, Corda Settler, I think they have their own native asset or whatever that they announced like a year ago. I think Zinfin integrates with Corda, but not sure if it's Corda Settler yet. And XRP, which we know was kind of that first native asset within Corda Settler. So it's an either or type thing. So it's not necessarily an and type thing. So they can use SWIFT GPI or they can use XRP. But just a little bit of common sense would make me believe, that there's probably been some trials that we've never seen to at least test the functionality within different mechanisms on Corda Settler, because SWIFT has already stated that they're going to be integrating with cryptos on some level. It just makes total sense. And this next video will kind of even flesh that out even further for you guys. But it's comical. The GPI link does not enable XRP or any cryptocurrency settlement. SWIFT is not collaborating with Ripple in this proof of concept. The GPI link aims at providing a settlement solution to trade ecosystems. Ripple does not operate a trade ecosystem. Their main business model is to provide clearing and settlement for cross-border payments. What do you think? What do you think that these CBDCs are? It's pretty much the next iteration of cross-border, right? Clearing and settlement. So I will play this and end this video. And shout out to Leah Halpern and Jack the Rippler for posting this. So this is an older video as well, but interesting. This gentleman worked at SWIFT for about 20 years. So.
There's a discussion surrounding crypto replacing SWIFT. So we did speak earlier where you mentioned that it's not necessarily about replacing SWIFT, it's about complementing it. So let's get some more information on this.
Okay. I used to work for SWIFT. I was SWIFT for 20 years, so SWIFT is flowing through my veins. SWIFT is the preeminent messaging system for the financial industry, which covers, say, payments, FX, trade, in terms of securities, etc., Nostra reconciliations, etc. What we're looking with the crypto, though, is where SWIFT would have a store and forward system for most of its payment transactions, where you need service level agreements that in a certain time I will do something, the payment turns up at a certain time during the day. Here we're looking at the new network styles which allow instant, real-time movement of the funds and visibility of those funds as well. So we would not have a situation where banks need to come back to you and say, have my funds arrived, it's 3 days later, I need to find out or find query messages moving around the network. There's nothing like that. I don't believe Ripple is going to replace SWIFT. Ripple is one of the complementary networks which is going to allow those institutions who need real time to make use of that. And I think we're also seeing that SWIFT are changing their network capability so that real time will be a possibility as well. But we may also see Ripple XRP moving across the SWIFT network as a currency.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will talk to you when I talk to you.